V-Rally 2 originally saw release on the Sony PlayStation in 1999 and would later be ported to the Sega Dreamcast and Windows PC in the year 2000. The game would also be known as Test Drive V-Rally in the North American version, that sees the game featuring various different modes and championships to compete in, with a total of 26 cars to unlock within the Championship Edition, and if you got the Expert Edition, which followed later on, there'd be an extra car added, making it 27. Overall, there's a sheer amount of tracks, with 80 in total, that all represent rallies of the 1999 season. And you can play all of these tracks in different modes as well, with split screen, multiplayer, time trial, even an arcade and single player rally experiences, as those modes were available and they were needed in order to unlock everything within the game. It does have some simulation aspects, but it does draw a fine line between arcade aesthetics and simulation, depending on the modes that you play in. But there's definitely enough content here to keep you playing for some time. Although in saying that, depending on which version that you played, the game still received favourable reviews across the board and was a massive overhaul compared to the previous game in the series with V-Rally, even the V-Rally 99 that released on the Nintendo 64. But it was still tough and challenging. The PlayStation version would definitely take you a good while to get through, but it's often said that the Sega Dreamcast version, while it's considered maybe is the best version of the game out there, it's also the most difficult to master, especially later on. Very, very tricky, and only for hardcore individuals that really know what they're doing will have any chance of pretty much finishing the game. But for casual players, the earlier stages of the game will be fine, but the difficulty will ramp up very, very quickly. It's still worth a try, however, if you're a fan of the series and just rally games in general. Rush Rush Rally Racing is a top-down 2D rally style game for the Sega Dreamcast, also releasing for the Nintendo Wii in 2012. They will play very similar to the classic Micro Machine games of the 8 and 16-bit era that is easy to pick up and play but very hard to master. The game features several different play modes, and the goal of the single player campaign is to qualify for each race by finishing third or higher, but you only have a limited amount of lives in order to get through the experience, and if you don't qualify within the top 3, eventually your lives will dwindle down to nothing and you'll have to start over. The Grand Prix mode generally consists of 10 levels, but the difficulty is significantly increased on each track, as you'll have to avoid loads of different obstacles along with racing against other players on the tracks, but you can use various shortcuts and elements to your advantage if you know where to look. When the game did release, it wasn't really well known to the public, especially even on the Dreamcast itself, so there weren't really many reviews to be found online, but those that did play it found it to be one of the best multiplayer games seen on the console itself. But the game did get a re-release in recent times on Steam under the name Rush Rush Rally Reloaded, so if you couldn't play it on the consoles of the time, now you can. Essentially it's the same game but just for modern systems. But if you do like classic over the top racing games, this one will generally give you that nostalgic look, as you do have a lot of tracks that are off-road based with loads of obstacles, like I said, to avoid, and plenty of challenges that lie in wait. It is worth a try if you do like that style of racer. Sega Rally 2 is the sequel to one of the greatest arcade racers of all time, being developed for the Sega's Model 3 arcade hardware. They would release originally in arcades in 1998 and would later be ported to the Sega Dreamcast upon its release in 1999, being among the first of the launch titles on the system. And very like the original Sega Rally, there would be additional features added into the console versions that weren't in the arcade, with a variety of different modes, even a 10-year championship mode that allowed you to unlock a whole host of different cars that weren't featured in the arcade version. The game, very like its predecessor, once mastered you will have a great experience, but it is a very tricky game. The game did receive favourable reviews upon its launch and was a very high popular and selling game for the Dreamcast when it did launch in 1999, and is a worthy successor to one of the best racing games ever made. But is it as good as the original? Well, that's still debatable, as the first game is so iconic and is still as much fun to play today as ever. But if you want more of the same, then Sega Rally 2 is definitely for you.
150, medium right. 50, medium right. 100, caution. Long A left. Oh no! 100, easy left. 100, caution. Hairpin right. Oh no! Oh! 30, easy left. 150, very long, medium left. Medium left. 100, medium left. 50, caution. Hairpin right. 70, caution. A right. 500, medium right. Checkpoint. 100, caution. Hairpin right. 50, medium left. 200, long, medium left. Water. 150, caution. Press, jump. Water. Checkpoint. 100, medium right. Medium left. 150, caution. Press, jump. Water. 150, easy right. 150, long, easy left, baby.
The Sega Dreamcast, funnily enough, had quite a large selection of racing games, believe it or not, during its lifespan. But the crazy thing is, with all the racing games that are available, there was only a select few rally games that were available. But the ones that were there at least added something unique and interesting, and yet they were very challenging. V-Rally 2 presented a great outlook in terms of simulation and arcade, but was quite tricky to master. But Sega Rally was the highlight reel, also with it being one of the launch console games. But if you're familiar with the first game, you'd feel right at home here, as it is an excellent title. It's just a pity that there wasn't more rally games released on the system, as it had so much potential. It really did. But I suppose we'll never know. But still, the legacy of the Dreamcast lives on. There are still even more racing games to discover, which we will learn about in this next video.